ladies and gentlemen. I have to apologize for being a bit late because I was supposed to speak before Tan Sri Khalid, but a lot of people in Selangor now are down with flu and cold, and I will hold Syabas responsible for cutting our water now. At the time when the weather is not nice, you have Syabas, as I'm sure Tan Sri Khalid would have elaborated at length, taking politically motivated acts because they know if they were to fight us on ideas, they know that if they were to compare with us on records of administering the state, they know that there is no way they can take Selangor. Because of that, the only way that Dato' Sri Najib hopes to cling on to the Prime Ministership is to cheat and to blackmail and to victimize the people of Selangor, hoping that with their propaganda tool in TV3 in Utusan, they can tell Selangorians it was the fault of Tan Sri Khalid that we had water problem. There is one problem with that premise. The problem is Selangorians of all the states in Malaysia. This is the most developed and the most middle class and the most educated voters. They know that Syabas is owned and operated by a crony of UMNO and Barisan Nasional. They know that it is the responsibility of Syabas to maintain the water facility, and when the pump house in Wangsa Maju has had problem with one of the pumps unrectified for the last 1 year, the blame squarely lies with Syabas. I don't want to talk about water too much because it annoys me as well, because one of the most affected areas is Pandan, where I have to stand against another giant, which is Dato' Sri Ong Tikiak. We know that they hope that by victimizing people in flats, the working class, they think that the public will turn against Pakatan Rakyat Islam. I want to talk about something a bit more personal. Today is the last day of my interns. About 6 months ago, I took a 19-year-old to be my intern. There was a boy who so boldly, without any qualification apart from South Australia matriculation certificate, wrote to me that he was hoping that he could work for me for the next 6 months. I was quite amused because this guy must be quite daring because he doesn't have any qualification and he wanted to do research and policy work with me and Pakatan. So I called him, I met with him, and for the last 6 months he's been working with me. Today is his last day. Throughout that 6 months, I discovered that this boy is an extremely devout Christian. He's a Chinese boy. And if you look across the political spectrum, very rarely you find either a Chinese or Indian working closely and directly with a Malay politician or vice versa. No matter what we say, our country is still very much polarized. It's very difficult to find a team of people, let alone politicians, made up of people of various races and various religions. The last 6 months I discovered as a devout Christian. I discovered that a 19-year-old, for a 19-year-old, is extremely smart. And I think when today he finally has to leave because he's flying to Australia in 2 weeks' time, it does affect me so much and the office so much because we are losing someone really good. And I tell you, and I would like to begin the speech tonight because this is what Malaysia has been missing all these years. When we categorize everything from racial lens. When we judge a person, not because he is smart or because he is honest or because he is capable, it's always a question of whether he is a Malay, a Chinese, an Indian, a Christian or a Muslim. I had 6 months of most wonderful time working with a boy who is so smart, irrespective whether he is Chinese or Christian. And if people ask me, why under Pakatan Rakyat we will see a Malaysia that is more prosperous, that is more competitive, that is more fair? Because in Pakatan Rakyat, we would never judge you whether you are Chinese, Indian, Malay, Iban, Kadazan. If you are good, if you are honest, and if you are hardworking, we don't care what is your background, because we know and we are convinced that it is your hard work and your honesty that will make the difference to the country. And that is the biggest problem that we have in Malaysia now. I know we have a lot of things to laugh at PN lately. We have 1 full year of cows and condos to laugh at. And I find it amusing because anywhere I go, if I don't mention that, YB Gobin is already here. Give a big clap for YB Gobin. For the last 1 year, anywhere I go, if I don't at least mention about Sharizat Jalil and her failed attempt to breed cattle in condominium that cost the country 250 million, the crowd is not really pleased with me. I thought there is already an old issue, but I still have to mention it. We had a field day laughing at the end. And then lately, the story about the very expensive ring. First the 24 million ring, and then a series of jewelry set costing 13 million, allegedly bought for Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor. Now that is the biggest joke of the country. We have fun laughing at that. The problem is, while we have fun and while we are convinced every day that Barisan Nasional is rotten to the core, unless in the next election we make sure Pakatan Rakyat takes over, this country is definitely going down the drain. And while every day we laugh at them, while every day we look at Dato' Sri Najib, and our conviction that we must change this country increases, I appeal to all of you that in this last 1 or 2 months before general election, please redouble whatever you are helping us, because this is our best chance. And worse still, it is not only our best chance, this is perhaps the most responsible and patriotic thing that we can do for the country to make sure we throw BN out of Putrajaya. Because we cannot have a government that is not honest. We cannot have a government whose sole preoccupation every day is to divide and to make sure that people cannot live together. We cannot have a government whose every move is about robbing the country from the people. And the Barisan Nasional leadership under Dato' Sri Najib is one that has totally lost the respect and the moral right to be a government. Never in our history that a Prime Minister and a wife are so much implicated with so many allegations, so much so that nobody knows who is the Prime Minister now. Datuk Sri Najib is so under siege that finally today, I think, the real Prime Minister has emerged because Datuk Sri Rosmah has finally spoken after all these months. Today, Rosmah has officially denied, and I watched the video before I came here. She made a speech. She said that, I swear, this is Amnola. You know, when they are cornered, they will just swear. She said that, I swear I didn't have that 24 million ring with me. Later on, when she was probed further, she had to concede that yes, I had seen the ring. I was in the party that touched the ring, had the feel of the ring. It was very good ring, but unfortunately I didn't have enough money, so I didn't buy it. I leave it to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, to decide whether you can buy that kind of story or not. Because even if she only touched the 24 million ring, there are enough documentary evidences in the form of transaction slips wired from Deepak's company's bank account to 2 jewellery shops in Hong Kong that showed that in between March 2009 and May 2009, in only a space of 2 months, this Grand Duchess of Amno had purchased 19 pieces worth of expensive jewellery at the cost of 13 million ringgit paid for by Deepak. And that's why I sympathize with Deepak. Although he doesn't really like me much, that's fine. But I sympathize with him because he had made an initial investment. He had paid 13 million to buy expensive jewellery for Datuk Sri Rosmah because Datuk Sri Rosmah has definitely promised him that he would be compensated in the form of very lucrative land banks in Selangor. That was in 2005 all the way to 2009. The problem is that Datuk Sri Rosmah did not factor in one important calculation. He forgot to look at Hei Toyo and how much Selangorians hate Hei Toyo. So in the last election, in 2008, Selangor has voted out Hei Toyo, and we put Tan Sri Khalid in his place as the MD. When the company went to see Tan Sri Khalid and tried to get an approval to transfer the land to a company owned by the Ketua Wanita Selangor, Tan Sri Khalid said, no way, Jose. And Tan Sri Khalid has stood his ground until today, and I think although unwittingly he didn't plan for that, because Selangor government has refused to transfer the land to Deepak and to Ketua Wanita Selangor, finally Deepak has had enough of Najib and Rosmah, and today Deepak one day hopefully will be remembered as the most important carpet man in Malaysian history. This government that is now in its last months in Putrajaya has no right to govern anymore when at the end of the day people will remember them as a party and a government that only knows how to plunder and rob public assets from the country. With Najib completely under siege, with Rosmah now becoming the most hated lady in Malaysian history, finally UMNO had to import the most hated person in our history, which is Mahathir, to lead them into the next election. So now UMNO within their ranks, they don't really know who's giving the order. Is it Najib, whose only response now is, I don't have any response? Is it Rosma, or is it Mahathir? That's why, ladies and gentlemen, my friend, I say that this is our best chance to dislodge UMNO and Barisan Nasional. Is this a rival? Oh, yeah, sorry, I got confused. I got dazed very easily nowadays. This is our best chance because the mandate and responsibility that you give to Pakatan Rakyat is not a small mandate. When YB Khalid Samad, when hopefully one day YB Tony Pua becomes a government minister in Putrajaya, let us remind them, because like you, I'm also one of the public, a member of the public who has every right to make sure that our future leaders, when they are in Putrajaya, remember why we would vote for them in the first place to replace Barisan Nasional. When we go to Putrajaya, we want to make sure that it's just not another party taking over in Putrajaya. It is a reform government whose mandate is to reform and to cleanse this country from corruption. Don't give any room, zero tolerance to corruption when Pakatan Rakyat takes over. The party leadership in the AP, in PAS, in PKR must remember, even if there is any doubt or allegation, unless that doubt is clear, the incumbent, the alleged, it is incumbent upon them to resign. That is our expectation on the new Pakatan Rakyat government. We shall elect the Pakatan Rakyat government to make sure that after this we remove any racial identification from the way that we manage and run this country. Select the best of the best, regardless of who you are, provided that you serve the country and you serve well. Make sure that we select the people with the highest integrity, regardless of whether you come from Sabah or Sarawak, whether you're Muslim or Chinese or Christians. And my friend, every time people ask me, what is your silver bullet and formula to make sure that when Pakatan Rakyat takes over, it's going to be a much better country than under PN's management? I always tell the public, we can tell you 1,001 new policies that we want to implement. We can promise you everything under the sun to make you feel good. But there is nothing in this world that can guarantee a better government than making sure it is the honest and morally upright people that becomes our leaders in Putrajaya. And that is the greatest and the biggest promise that we will make to you, everyone, that under Pakatan Rakyat, only the best of the highest integrity, of the most morally upright leaders who will see and given the opportunity to be at the helm of Putrajaya, those with slightest doubt on their character, at least we in Pakatan Rakyat will make sure these people will not have a place in our government. Finally, I think I got to go to Kajang after this. I got another one. Finally, I think election is definitely around the corner. Never in our history that the Prime Minister is so afraid of the electorate that his discretion to call election is finally nullified, because he has to call election nevertheless, because the term is going to expire anyway. So election is definitely going to be in between early to mid-March. We know that there's not much room for maneuvering that Najib can do. And this is definitely going to be, inshallah, God permits, if God wills it, this is going to be the last election where UMNO will be the government of Malaysia. Once we have a new government, we shall move forward. There shall not be any witch hunt, hopefully. We have a heavy responsibility to correct many wrongs done for the last 55 years. So to those in MCA, to those in Gerakan, to those in MIC and UMNO, in these last 2 months, do not fear change. Because when we win, we are not going after you, the small fish kat bawah. We are going to go the big ones, the jerol kat atas. So to that Sharifah lady that listen lady, don't fear us, you can come out now. So long as you apologize to the public, you'll be fine. But to Rosmah and to Najib and to those high officials of BN's government who have plundered the government, who have robbed the country of its rich, I can assure you, while we are kind to you, you will be made accountable for every of your transgression. The only consolation for Rosmah and Najib will be, because we know they like to spend holidays in expensive hotel everywhere in the world, we can promise them that we will continue to pay for their holidays after retirement, but those holidays will be into small rooms in Hotel Sungai Buloh. Fear not, we shall be as fair to you as we are to everyone else. So thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again. Have a wonderful night. And I think it is not too early to wish Happy Chinese New Year, Kong Si Fat Choi to all. We shall have a new government in 1.5 months' time. Thank you very much. Nandri Bharat.